men made mightier without roids.
For my entire life, the major comic book companies have asserted that super ladies don't make for good comics. They use this flimsy and incorrect assumption to justify not giving super females the limelight when it came to TV shows and movies. Worse, it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. The Supergirl movie, Catwoman, Elektra, Birds of Prey, all female-led superhero stuff, but they needed some real character and world depth, at least a dozen rewrites before they were on par with their male-led counterparts. But it wasn't the heroines that were lacking in these stories. It was the writing. The writing in Catwoman and Elektra was lazy, made to tie into masculine, hero-based narratives as a tie-in, rather than standing on their own 2 feet. It was made to sell some sort of sexual fantasy than to deliver some real hard-hitting narrative. And these Hindenburgs, they are still burning today. Anytime anyone says, hey, let's give Captain Marvel a movie, or hey, where's my Storm movie, or hey, shouldn't Psylocke have a movie? How many times anybody yells Squirrel Girl versus Galactus? They keep pointing to that stuff and saying, see, nobody likes female heroes in their movies. All because a bunch of lazy writing to sell boobs ruined it for everybody. Luckily, due to persistence of online voices and steady appeal from their audience, Marvel and DC have locked hands and decided to tiptoe gingerly into the 21st century and finally release some females on the screen. In the movies department, DC is finally giving Wonder Woman a movie, just in time for Batman's 614th appearance and Clark Kent's 7 millionth foray onto the big screen. And Marvel is bringing out Captain Marvel, which I'm really excited about, even if I do think it's kind of a tiptoe in the right direction as opposed to a full-on home run. Meanwhile, on the small screen, DC Supergirl has been very watchable. Sure, it's nearly all female cast, sometimes meanders through the trope swamp. There was a love triangle set up in the first 15 minutes of the pilot. But beyond that, it's had some really deep character relations, and I've really got to be proud of them in it. But it's still worth watching, which is way more than I can say for most of Smallville. Don't hate, show sucked. Marvel, on the other hand, introduced a much more obscure character from their universe, Jessica Jones, through the warm, loving embrace of Netflix. While both series are really entertaining, Jessica Jones benefits from the fact that she's not just a female version of a pre-established male character, unlike poor Kara, who's Supergirl. Jessica Jones stands on her own, and while her series does loosely tie into Daredevil, and it also sets up Luke Cage, neither of those things are important. If they were cut from the show, it would not make the show fail. It would simply stand on its own as a wonderful standalone work. Jessica Jones looks deep into the psyche and trauma of its protagonist, its villains, side characters, and it makes for a really delicious feast for my ever-hungry mind. The story revolves around Jessica Jones, a private eye who happens to be superhuman. She's got enhanced strength and all the benefits that come with it, powerful blows, incredible leaps, and a general resistance to damage, but she's nowhere near bulletproof. And without a masked identity to hide who she is, she has to be very careful with how she uses her powers. Jessica Jones is a former Cape Crusader. However, at the beginning of the show, she's just coming out of a stint where she has been mentally dominated by Kilgrave, the Purple Man. Kilgrave's powers, anything that he says and other people hear, become law, something that they have to do. And the effect persists for 12 hours. This means that Kilgrave basically keeps certain people always within arm's reach, giving them command after command to constantly own their mind and body, not their soul. Jessica spent weeks under his control, doing things that she immensely regrets and never would have otherwise done. But eventually she breaks free. She helps her friends, she fights crime, and she investigates the lives of others as a private detective to keep the booze flowing. And then she goes home and she drinks herself into a stupor to evade the memories that she can't outrun. This series serves as a fantastic lens through which we can view real manipulative, abusive relationships. The words of your manipulative partner becoming law. Your only will being beholden to theirs and being denied your God-given autonomy. And even when the victims manage to break free, the actions that they committed, the trauma that lingers, the sorrow, the guilt, the loneliness, it's something that they can't outrun. And it's something too few things truly explore. The team behind Jessica Jones handles this topic with honesty and sincerity, in a way that other shows would swing for and miss if they ever dared to try at all. She's a realistic superhero in the modern world, knowing that her superpowers can only take her so far, and beyond that, struggling with her humanity. The team behind Jessica Jones knows this, and it's what's keeping the series interesting. Because despite her lone wolf nature and her snarky attitude, Jones is wounded and putting herself back together. And that is a million times more interesting than watching Bruce and Queen relive rehashed memories for the millionth time. Honesty of character. Real and meaningful trauma. And never being afraid to let your character get through their trauma in the wrong way, lashing out and becoming kind of a jackass. Because that's way more interesting than a brooding Caped Crusader watching from the Gotham streetlights, or yet another incarnation of a red-clad paragon. So if your character's falling flat this week, explore their trauma and let them behave badly. Because even superheroes have to vent sometimes. Thanks for sticking with me on Pen Made Mightier this week. Did you love Jessica Jones as much as I did? Are you looking forward to Daredevil? Are you looking forward to seeing the Punisher in Daredevil? Are you looking forward to more Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or Peggy Carter? Or are you just waiting on for the next movies? Either way, tell me what you thought about all this down in the comments. I'm looking forward to speaking with you there, and share this video around, and we'll see you next week on Pen Made Mightier. Bye now.
Pen made mightier without roids.
How'd that end up going? Kirk.